Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Joe Rockey is in the house. Oh my gosh, Joe Rockey Jr. He hails from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he brought to my attention how old I actually am because I mentioned Three Rivers Stadium during my visit to Pittsburgh at one time in my life, and he said, "Mitch, that's been gone for decades." So I don't know what to make out of that, but it woke me up immediately. Thank you, Joe, for being here on the Amazing Authorities podcast. Now, you're I couldn't cover all your businesses that you've been involved in. You're all over. You're a prolific entrepreneur. No one's ever going to accuse you of being lazy. So let's dig in on your casino sales master book, and welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, absolutely. In a lot of ways, this book is the result of building all these businesses. Because it doesn't matter what business you do, at the end of the day, you got to sell something. And that's what the core of this book is how to use relationships and sales skills to sell stuff. In this case, a casino, getting to love you and wanting to pay you.
Well, so the casino component, having lived in Las Vegas, I moved there during the pandemic in early 2020, right after, I think it was April, I was out of Thailand where I lived. I moved back to the States to get vaccinated, and that's the whole story. I was surrounded by casinos, which were ghost towns during that time. But Las Vegas is the biggest entertainment, it's the entertainment capital of the world. And immediately I default, when I see casino, I went on and lit up. That's why I said it's a great title. Unpack that a little bit. So are you using the metaphor of a casino in the book, or are there other examples?
Oh, there's a ton of examples, but the prime example is walking into that casino floor that is rigged to overcome you. It's sensory overload from the max. We got bells and whistles. We got dings. We got weird colors you don't see anywhere. For some reason, there's smoke anywhere, but no one has a cigarette. Like all of these different sensory inputs that you get walking into any casino that are built to hijack your brain before you start. And that's before we start giving out free alcohol. So that is the starting point of how can you use relationship and sales skills to beat the odds. And that's the subtitle. So the full title is Casino Sales Master, Proven System to Beat the Odds in Sales and Life, with a real emphasis on the life part, because what I teach is so much deeper than what people think about when they buy this card. So I wrote it on the back of the book as the back cover. This is not a card counting book. That's what everyone thinks it up front. Oh, you just figured out how to do the math of blackjack. Well, yeah, that's not that complicated. I'm not being the 20 millionth guy to write about that. What I'm writing about is how to get a place that has a mathematical rigged advantage, a psychological advantage, and still get them to want to pay you. The hardest environment to win, if you can overcome that dragon, you can overcome anything in the world of relationships and sales. And that's what we teach in it. To give a quick paraphrase of it.
So it's a persuasion. Let's go back to, there's a great book written by Dr. Robert Cialdini. He wrote Science and Practice some years ago. And then he wrote a book called Persuasion. It's exactly what you're talking about. Hitting all the senses before any transactions. You already prepped to buy. Bells and whistles. The lighting is a factor. The carpet they choose, everything factors in to get you ready to buy, to grease up your credit card, to grease up your wallet, to make your hands and palms sweat so you're eager to transact. Now, how do you use that deep understanding of psychology? I'm going to pick a niche because I know you can handle it. What does the car salesman do? Let's talk about one of the most challenging We all buy cars if we drive, especially in America, but it's got a negative rap, and that has, I don't know if that category is dirtier or greasier, perceived to be greasier, or timeshare.
It's a good question. The trope is about the used car salesman, so let's stick with that.
All right, we'll stick with that.
One of the industries I serve a lot with the nature of this business, because you're right. The fundamental starting point, and I think that this needs a broken down, and I will get into specifically applies, is that you can go all the way back to the Bible, and the Bible has all kinds of different professions in it. It has soldiers, it has demons, all the other stuff. There is no industry that is criticized or hated upon more in the entire duration of the Bible than salespeople.
Right.
So this goes back to the dawn of time, what I'm about to say here. And the reason is because salespeople are on commission. If they don't succeed, they don't get paid.
They don't eat.
Yeah, exactly. So there's an incredible natural urge of, you're not getting off this lot unless you're going in one of my cars. So that's where all the emphasis of selling wrong is born. In my terminology, I call that the 1960s sales method. Everything is high pressure. You're not doing this unless it's the way we want you to, and deal with it. So that's the backdrop that we all think of when we think in sales. And this isn't the question you asked, but it's still around with us in many, many industries. We just don't like to call it that or identify it as, but it's still here. But sticking specifically in cars, that's exactly it. We come in with that answer of, these guys are just going to use me. I don't want to be used as a buyer. So what do we do? As a species, a psychological growing species for thousands upon thousands of years, we came up with a playbook. And that playbook is this: pretend like you're interested. Now that I pretended like I'm interested, you're going to give me free information. All right, I'm going to make a test drive of this car and see if I like it or not. Step 3, no decision. Let me think about it, or I got to check with my wife. I'll get back to you. Just send me an email. I'll get back to you. Step 4, you ghost the salesperson.
Right.
So that is the dichotomy between buyers and sellers. I'm going to use you to get what I want. I'm going to do everything I just said so you can't touch me. And that's the bridge we have. So how do you separate something that is oil and water? It's not exactly easy when you look at it from that standpoint, until you back up and go, maybe that's how we shouldn't sell. Maybe we should do it differently.
Is that called a light bulb moment?
To me, it's called common sense when you back up and look at things from a different thing. But yeah, I guess, it's like, just because this is the way we always did it does not mean it's acceptable cost of doing business. And the notion of making people come to your car lot because there's only 3 options. You're buying, back then, I mean, you were like evil if you bought a Toyota after World War II. How dare you? My dad went over to fight them. And you're going to buy their cars? No. So there was no imports. You were buying one of the big 3, and that was it. And reality was, they could act like this because in the 60s, really, regardless of what industry you're talking about, there was so much less competition. Like, if you wanted to get a car, you were getting a Ford, a Chevy, or a Chrysler. That's it. End of discussion.
General Motors. Maybe General Motors. Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant by Chevy. But yeah, so all of the General Motors brands. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, cool
no problem. Because I know exactly what you're talking about, because my uncle fought in World War II, and while he was alive, there's no way I could have driven a Japanese car.
Exactly. So they knew this. They knew all the social parameters around this. So there's not a downside to them as a corporate level if I force people to do a system they don't want. They don't have another choice. They need a car. It's not socially acceptable not to have one. So they have to play my game whether I like it or not, or whether they like it or not. So you're accepting the fact that you're pushing off clients, you're pushing off them, forcing to do them something that they don't want to do as your default starting metric. And that's what the auto industry did. And that's what sales period did. So what I say and what I teach is, let's start with a completely different way of interaction. Let's look at what the worst moment is in the old way of buying in the 1960s method, which is that high pressure moment of, are you in and are you out? And if you're not in, it's going to be bad for you. Everyone's been in a high pressure sales moment that can identify that. So how do we remove that but still get paid? Because at the end of the day, the reality is we're still salespeople. We need to get paid. There's no cash flow. There's no business. It doesn't matter what you're selling. That's true. So, okay, cool. All right, we got that. So what if, instead of me forcing what I want upon someone, I could find out what they actually want without having to guess and without having to do creepy AI stalker things through Facebook? What if you could get the person to actually tell you what's going on in their world? No, Rockey, you're laughing. That is what I am dealing with in the last 6 months of my life. It's been, why would I need to learn this? I built an AI that can figure out exactly what they're thinking and what they want.
It's removed. I'm just smiling, Joe, because you're right on the money with that. Bud, I get it. That's why I'm smiling. It's genuine. I get it.
And it's also genuinely a bad idea. If you are out there thinking you're going to hack your way into someone's brain from an outside intelligence method with using AI, you're destroying your company before you even start. I haven't written it yet, but I'm pretty sure my next book's going to be called AI's Here Because of Your Shitty Boss. And I can go down a whole rabbit hole with that. But it all comes back to this core concept. You have to treat people correctly. And when you don't, you set yourself up for major problems. So what I did was I took a very scientific-based approach. And instead of asking the question, how can I get someone to like me? I asked the question, how can I not get rejected by someone? And those are two completely different routes that your subconscious goes through. And that was the starting point of how we were able to build relationship skills where people want to connect to you and want to open up. Because if they're not rejecting you, they don't have a reason not to open up to you. And then
let's talk about that in the car sales example, because when someone walks onto a lot, they're walking onto a lot. They're there to buy their Toyota. Let's talk about Joe middle class. They're there to get a Camry. I guess I don't even.
You have a Camry.
Okay, they're going to get the Camry, which I think is the most purchased car in America, or at least it was for a while. I don't know what it is today, but they're there to buy a Camry. Okay, and their credit's good. They know that they can buy this. They have real intent, but they want to get a quote best price. And then the salesman's there. It's got sunglasses on, looks like a salesperson. Hi, big smile, might have veneers, could have it or not. And it's got cigarette breath, and he greets him at the lot, and he's chewing gum with his mouth open.
Oh, of course.
And this, I'm creating, an semi-accurate.
You're describing the bravado that is common in person-to-person sales. Yes, you're doing a fairly good job at it, especially
really good job of. And by the way, I sold Toyotas during one summer in college, so I do know that. I had a large lot. There were 30 salespeople on staff each day. So I am speaking from a limited level of experience, as in 3 months I did it.
Well, I can also tell you the experience that you had then ain't that much different from the experience folks have today.
Oh, I'm sure. They're there. And so how does the salesperson overcome this bias before Joe Rockey comes in to buy his wife or his daughter a Camry? I don't know if your kid is old enough at this point, but probably not. But
no, he's 4. He better not be old enough.
No, not yet. Yeah, he's not.
I see how he drives his monster trucks, but that's a story. So let's just go through what it's going to be. I walk onto your lot, and then big shiny hair guy. Hey, welcome. How you doing here today? Don't worry about me. I'm not here to buy a car. It's your natural first reaction to fakeness.
Of course.
To push it away.
Deflect.
Yes, exactly. It's step one. It's natural. There's nothing you can do about that.
I'm just shopping. I'm just looking.
Yeah. And what does that guy do? All right, man. Got you. I'll hook you up when you're ready. Essentially, that's what they do. And then they let him wander off.
I like the hair rub. That was good, Joe.
Oh, I mean, I don't have it. If I did,
that was you got a yellow chicken on that one. That was good. That was,
if only, right? So, yeah. What life would have been if I had a mullet like Yammer Yager my whole life? But at any rate, so if you just change it a little differently, so their first reaction is to push away from you because you're bringing affect, but you're also bringing an implied forcing moment. By everything you're doing there, all of that bravado you talked about is designed to go back to the sensory conversation to try to lessen what that eventual pressure point is when I come at you. That's what that's all for. The big smile, the particularly fake jovial tone, all of it. It's all designed to try to lower someone's gear.
Correct.
So they naturally see it, they push it away. Okay, cool. If you would do something different, no, man, I'm just looking. Don't worry about me. Bro, are you telling me that your entire thing is to walk around asphalt lots? I mean, that's how you want to spend your August afternoon?
Come back with a question.
Deer in the headlight. Wait, what? No. I treat them like a normal person. Like, you would never let your daughter tell you that. So you never let your daughter lie to your face and say, I'm just looking, because you don't drive to a car dealership with all of the things able to buy just to look. So you never would accept that. So you treat them like another real person. You call them out on it. And then now you have an opportunity without any of this crap around you. And by the way, you shouldn't have any of that crap that we discussed in the beginning here. You should just be a normal guy or girl, depending upon your situation. So, all right. So you're here. Why? Now, before I dive further down this explanation, I want to point out something that we all kind of know implicitly, but no one ever wants to admit because it's one of these things that might not be socially correct. But we all have it inside our heads, which is when you first jump out of a plane doing skydiving, you have to do it with a trainer. Or if you're in America, I have no idea what it is in Thailand, but when you're in America, you have to be with someone attached to you who's a certified
same anywhere.
Same
anywhere.
All right, gotcha.
Protocols.
So if there's two people standing there, one that looks cool, calm, and collected, just standing still, there, maybe cracking some jokes, but basically being a normal social person, and someone else who's patting down all themselves constantly, just constantly looking at their gear and all that. The vast majority of people, without knowing any additional information, will choose the first person because they look calm and cool and collected. Even if the second person had been a military trained person who has done thousands of jumps, and that's just him checking everything and triple checking as his process. But because the initial impression that guy is unprepared or unconfident, you will not select him.
Right.
That is
your life's on the line. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a basic psychological thing. So one of the interesting things that psychology has proven, and we're all relative. We only look at the world through a relative lens. And when we're talking about our internals, we always think that ours is the biggest. So my reason for wanting to be here on the car lot is sacred to me. I'm not going to share it with you. Like, we all have that, because the other part, you're going to use it against me at some point. But if I'm deer in the headlights, you just called me out for being in this car lot, and you said, why? I don't have a pre-built defense mechanism to answer this, because this is not experience. This is not in the routine playbook. So then I tell you the real reason why.
You've rattled somebody. You've thrown them out of state.
That's exactly. You did a really clear pattern interrupt. But more so than that, you've now shown by you being there, done that, I have jumped out of this plane before. I know where you're at, and I know the game you're playing, even though you don't even know how to describe the game that you're playing. So, all right, why are you really here? Well, I'm really here. I'm going to change up the car on you just to make this for size examples. I'm really here because I want to be in something that's off the ground. My knees hurt bending down to get into these sedans, and I'll be damned if my daughter knows that because she's going to put me into a home, and I ain't doing that. I'm not ready for that. Okay, that's a completely valid reason, because you don't want to go to a home is the real reason you want to buy an SUV. Okay, that's one reason someone might buy a car. Or, you know what? I can't really get together with the guys. They just all want to sit around at home. But if I can throw their clubs in the back of the trunk, they're not going to have an excuse not to. We're actually going to see each other once a week. Okay, well, that's another reason. Or, you know what? I just want to be able to pick up all of my grandkids and have them all in one spot, and I need to be the chauffeur or it's never going to happen. Okay, cool. The key thing that I really want to point out here is that when you're selling correctly, it has nothing to do with the features and benefits. This is a lie that Amazon and eBay told society that society bought. We don't buy because of four wheels and an engine. We buy because of some of those real reasons that are deep in our soul. But it's, as a salesperson, safer to talk about four wheels and an engine. Because if I start talking about, you not wanting to go in a home, I might start thinking about, I just had to put my mom in a home, and that's a scary situation. And I don't want to go to something scary myself. So we'll just talk about the leather seats. How about that? That's cool. That's easy. And so many people are not capable of being that cool, calm, collected person to jump out of the plane when it comes to their own internal emotions, let alone being able to handle someone else's.
I like the why question a lot. That's the pattern interrupt. It throws their state into a different, more, you take control with that question as a salesperson. I like that. Why are you here? Because it puts them out of, they thought they were going to get rid of you, and they weren't successful with that, were they? When you throw that why.
Yeah, it's not even intrusive. It's just calling them out on their game. And it shows you that I understand the game that you're playing, even if you don't understand what you're doing. I do, and I'm willing to be real with you about it. And one of the many things that are proven is reciprocation. All right, you're being real with me, so I'm going to be real back with you, even if I don't know why. So all of us have things in our past that didn't go the way we wanted them to. Regardless of who you are, we all have something. And we all have preferred ways that these, we'll call them little t traumas, would get dealt with. There's a whole spectrum of options, but I'll keep it basic for this conversation. Do I want to have someone come in, jump in, immediately solve the problem for me, or do I want to be left alone for me to solve it? And, each of us have different preferences for that. But each of us also inherently holds scars on us that our subconscious can pick up. They're not like battle scars or burnt scars or something like that, but they are scars upon us that we can pick up instantly in someone else to see whether or not they're going to be in the vibe of how I want. You probably have had the experience before of, I don't know why, but I can just connect with this guy. Like, he just gets me.
Sure.
And you've certainly had the other end of the spectrum of like, never talking to that guy again. Nope, not going to happen. And this is why. This is your actual psychological process of this happening. Full circle, go back before, how not to get rejected. Don't have scars. Your brain is looking for reasons to push you away. If you never give me a reason to push, I never launch out. So if you are capable of removing your billboard of scars, of reasons people should be rejecting me, which you can do, it's one of the things I train my people, then no one's pushing you away. Then when it comes into, hey, I've been there. I have had to put my parents in a home last week, and she went kicking and crying. I get why you'd want to fight for every last minute until you do it. I personally never want to go to one either. So, follow-up question. You're going to spend $58,000 to not go to a home? And he goes, dude, if it takes it, I'll spend 350,000. All right, well then, or whatever the case might be. And you just dive into it, because the real secret of all this is that when you go through this process correctly, and there's no script to it, because there's no script to running a relationship. But if you go through this process correctly, there is no big pressure moment. It's, this guy gets me. Now it's just about figuring out logistics to make it happen. So we're going to put you on financing, or you're going to put this much down, whatever. That doesn't matter. That's just logistics. The point is, they already trust you. They love you. And they're going to buy this car from you, despite the fact you've talked to each other for 10 minutes. So it's how you can completely change it on its head. And again, you can do it on a car lot. You can do it as a doctor about convincing someone to take meds. You can do it as convincing your doctor never to give you meds. You can do this in any capacity, getting your 16-year-old daughter to tell you where she's really going Saturday night, getting your adult kids to want to talk to you again. It doesn't matter what the relationship burden there is, this will help it. And the cool part is, once you get once you get better in one relationship, it carries over to all the other ones. So it's a universal life skill.
So does it start with a why question as the connector? I want to follow the process so the listeners can take away with that. I love the why question. That's what I was able to take away from.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think I might give you a wildly unsatisfying answer here. There's not a script to it. It's how would you, I mean, at the end of the day, it's how do you connect with someone? How would you talk to your friend? How would you talk to your brother? So
you gave the example at the car lot. All right. Mm-hmm. So there's that could be somewhat scripted, because it's automatic what people
will. Yeah, you're all right. Because the first step of every car lot is, I'm about to get lied to. Regardless of what is, the buyer is going to lie to you on the first question.
I'm just looking. So I like the why question. Well, why are you here going car lot to car lot? I thought that was a great script.
That's not deep enough. You got to do the hook before it. You got to call them out on their lie. So they know, they first have to realize they lied to you before they change, and that they got called out on lying. Because if not, they're a 3-year-old who thinks they got away with it, and they're going to keep trying to do more and more and more, and then they ate all the cookies. So what you got to do is call them out. So in that case, it's, really? You're just here to look? It's 98 degrees. This is an asphalt lot. You're the first person who ever just wanted to hang out here on an afternoon.
So it's a challenging statement you come back with. I want to see what the connectors are. So there is some.
Yeah. So the first thing you do when you get lied to is you challenge the lie.
All right, you challenge the lie.
To give the connector. And how you go about doing that is you challenge the lie.
Challenge the lie. All right, good.
Yes.
Good. All right.
And then the next thing that you do as far as opening it up is, and this is the skill set that each individual has their own way of doing it, because we're all unique. But you have to challenge the lie and then simultaneously step enough space back to show that I've been here. Like, I get it, bro. People lie to me all the time about this.
That's the connection.
I'm not gonna beat you up for it. So
challenge the lie and then connect.
Yeah, you're connecting, and you're connecting in a nurturing fashion.
Got it.
So you're a big bully who could take the lie and punch in the face, but then I'm calm and giving and willing to nurse you to, now that you have a bruised ego, I'll take care of it.
All right. I want to flip gears, and then the rest, as you said, is logistics in a car lot. That's the classic example of coming in with armor as a buyer, and then having your armor removed quickly, and then having to connect, and then walking through the whole logistics before you wheel off that car. Here you roll off the lot. Now I want to bring in a little more challenge. This is more close to home. For many years in my early sales career, I was one-to-one sales as a kid. Then I learned the magic of one-to-many selling on the stages, and then I was on the world's largest platform of a pitchman on Home Shopping Network, which I did for 3 years. So that's one-to-many selling.
You sold a lot of stuff to my mother-in-law, I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Peggy eating bonbons, sitting on the couch. Yeah, I had 5 million viewers when I was doing that. That is the Super Bowl of selling. Now let's break it down where I'm most comfortable is in an arena or a room of, let's say, 500 attendees. Selling a mass group of people to get up, pull their credit card out, and roll to the back. Most speakers that I have trained and worked with fail when it comes to selling. Most are competent and confident in delivering content and teaching. But when it shifts to go to selling, many freeze up. You're smiling, you get it. What is the process you would suggest for someone in the one-to-many selling, because their palms start getting sweaty and then they rush their close, as opposed to welcoming the close and getting people to naturally, organically pull out their cards and buy?
The scientific reason why this happens, and then which I'll try to put in layman's terms for you, is that while they're giving their content and they're being great on stage and teaching you how, you know, black antimatter works and all this other stuff, how we're going to be floating to Mars and whatever they're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So when they're talking about that, they're in a headspace where they're completely cool, calm, and collected within themselves. If you could show a personification of how they feel like right now, they are riding one of the dragons in Game of Thrones. They are untouchable. They are in the strongest point of their life. I know all this stuff. I know everything about thermodynamics, and you guys are loving it and listening it up. And I'm seeing it in the audience. You're giving me reaction. You love what I'm hearing. And it's just building up this great happiness I got inside of me. But then they get to that spot in their speech where it turns. And now I am back to being 4-year-old in my mom's kitchen and hearing her lie to salespeople. Hey, is it okay if we talk right now? No, I'm busy. And all of those extra memories that we've had since birth that we've been bred to as a buyer to lie to them. But as a speaker, especially as a speaker, I've been trained to connect with my audience. And I know, because of my experience from my past, that you hate salespeople too. I'm about to be one of them. That makes me not happy. That kills internally all of that great energy and power I used to have, gets drained out of me, because now I am the guy that my mom would lie to no matter what. And that is the psychological thing. Most of them will probably never be able to articulate that, but that is psychologically what is happening inside their brain and why they mess up the end. And the part you mentioned is incredibly common. I'm just going to try to race through this to get it over with, because they don't, I know they don't want it. Why would I ruin the audience? I just built this last hour speech of them loving me and knowing about my product and my speech and all this stuff.
Now I got to sell.
Yeah. Now I have to be something they're going to hate.
Because I have to eat and satisfy the promoter. Oh my gosh, I better close well.
That's exactly it. So the fundamental fact is they still think salespeople are evil. They're still living with the default playbook that humanity has, which is, I'm a salesperson. As a salesperson, you're only here to use people. But they don't see themselves as salespeople. They see themselves as teachers, entertainers who are given this great knowledge from stage. And that, if I'm boiling down to answer your question of why does that happen, that's the psychology of why. They went from a great admired figure that the audience loves and they're seeing loving, to now I'm the guy that my kids or that my parents always hated growing up. No one's ever not had that experience of seeing their parents lie to a salesperson.
So Joe, what is the suggested process incorporating what someone can take away from your Casino Sales Master book of selling to a one-to-many crowd? You've talked very well about the car lot example. Everybody can relate to that. There's a bias already when you walk in the door and they don't trust you, and you threw them off with a great pattern interrupt. How do you apply that to a mass audience?
You have to fix yourself first. I mean, either one, you have to fix yourself as the salesperson first.
Okay.
That's the starting point here is that, and that's really what I teach throughout the book and the course is that we teach it in 5 repeatable drills each day that essentially has you reevaluate and talk to your subconscious and puts it together in a way where you're helping people, and you
Okay.
ultimately come out on the other side where your sale is a win-win. And you firmly believe that this person who loved me 20 minutes ago when I was breaking down thermodynamics, and now that I'm talking about you becoming a student of mine to learn more about thermodynamics, that it's still a win for them. And it's not me taking from them. And getting that shift in your brain is what happens. So the reality is that until you do that, there is no format and no formula that will last long term with you. This is why 90% of salespeople fail, because they don't want to be something that's evil. They don't want to be someone that's taking someone or hurting someone or putting themselves in a negative position.
Interesting. So, how many different niches do you cover in your book?
Oh God, I think it's at least 32 when we counted it out. We obviously casinos. We covered wet T-shirt contests, the 1990 Braves, Jesus, a big hate. And in fact, when I describe how to sell wrong, I use real estate agents pretty prominently.
Okay. All right.
So it's ironic. I do that. I did that. And then the first person who wanted to buy one of my books, I'm talking to him in person. He ran one of the largest private real estate companies in America. And I'm like, hey, just as a heads up, I'm going to just be describing what some of your agents are doing. You better.
He probably loved it.
It's all real. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, to dive deep into it, it's the way that real estate agents are built is they have legal answers to give them the reason that you can't go anywhere else. As soon as you sign an agreement with a real estate agent, and every state's different, so don't quote me on this, but the majority of them, you can be locked in for a year where you have to sell the house to that agent. And even if you sell it independently, they can still make a claim on what their commission would have been. So once their real sale is to get you to sign the agreement to list your house.
Oh, the listing agent. Yes. Not the, okay. The listing agent.
Yes. So then you're locked with them.
Right.
You're
of course they all want that. Yes.
Yeah. So they don't care about you. I mean, there's so many of them. Once I got the listing, I had one that we worked with that literally would send an email that said, hey, you didn't show up to the showing I was going to do for you. Just as a reminder, and she extended it, but if you buy or sell this house without me, I'm still taking my commission. And if you don't want to, I'll see you in court. I've been in court successfully last 38 times.
Right.
It was the formula in which they used. So yeah, absolutely. That's something that they do in that industry, and it's all around us. And there's a lot of government shielding that allows them to do that. But yeah, in terms of insurance agents, I talk about a lot in there. Obviously, car. You can't not talk about car. Apple, the iPhone kind, not the tree kind. But yeah, you're asking me to quote off all of the examples I use.
Not quote off, but just to give you.
But that's the ballpark. I mean, like it's range.
Yes.
I mean,
you gave you discussed the gamut, many examples. You just mentioned a few. And there are 30.
Yeah, I actually list them all in the first chapter for what you're about to experience.
Yeah, and you break it through, but I'm sure that there are common elements. And what I was able to take away is, yes, I like the part. I guess there are 4 elements you take people through on a daily basis to fix what's inside, and then they can go out and fix inside first, use a pattern interrupt, possibly. Is that what I got? Did I break that down correctly?
It's not even always, it's often a pattern interrupt.
Often a pattern interrupt.
What it is, it's ultimately what it is it's a mechanism of building up your relationships through 3 prisms. The first prism being the relationship that you share with yourself.
Okay.
The second being the prism of the relationship you share with others. And the third being the giant cosmos relationship that you share. Many people call that the relationship they have with God. So that's how it breaks it down, is through all 3 prisms, with the vast majority of the book focusing on the first 2. So that's how it goes about it. Because again, there's no script to do this, right? In fact, you hear people about writing scripts and writing templates. What most of them are to do are to just try to keep people who don't want to be naturally salespeople and force them to be salespeople in a way that I've seen somewhat success upon. But that's not how you do it. That's how you do it the 1960s way. You really do it by connecting with you. And then it's like, hey, I don't know what it is about this Mitch guy, but I just want to help him out. I'm going to, like the 2 referrals I would never share with anyone. I'm giving to him.
Got it.
Or the two things I would never share anyone, this is why I'm buying this car from you. I mean, quite frankly, I'm not gonna lie. I like the Dodge I looked at yesterday more than this Toyota, but I want to buy from you. That's real life. That's how this economy works all over the place. That's why for years they didn't want to recognize this fact, and economics was like, why are people not doing what's in their own best interest? It's better to buy the one they want at the lower price because it doesn't account for human relationships. And
Sure.
like, no matter how much AI we try introducing into this economy, nothing will overcome human relationships. It's one of the things that all of us share is the need and ability to create meaningful and lasting connections and relationships, which is ironic because most people have no idea how they actually build their own relationships. It's like, I just get on the bike and I keep pedaling and I hope I don't fall over. It's why everybody hates high school if they really deep down admit it, because you're trying to learn these new things through trial and error. And, oh, that didn't work. That was ugly. Oh, there's a lot of consequences here. I'm going to try something else different. I'm going to try something else different. And yeah, sure, you might get lucky and find out, hey, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be or whatever. But trial and error is how we naturally try this. We find a zone that didn't get me in that bad of trouble, and I can ego-wise accept. And oh, by the way, that's how you built your comfort zone when you were in puberty, and why most people never really stepped that far out of it from decisions they made when they were 16.
Okay. Well,
You
Joe,
break all these barriers down, your world will change.
where can people get in touch with you? Where's the best place to find Joe Rockey and embrace? Well, the book, I would imagine, is available on Amazon. Do you have a book site for it? Or is there a main website?
Casinosalesmaster.win, because you don't build a book about casinos and not put it on .win. So casinosalesmaster.win. You can get the book and all the courses there directly. And in terms of the social media connected with me, the only real one I do is LinkedIn. So that's the way you can find me. And I'm Joe Rockey on LinkedIn. So it's very easy, straightforward to find. So make it nice and easy for folks.
Great guest. Enjoyed our time together. Here's the compliment. I'm going to have you back again.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Have you back. That I think is when you get a reorder, that's when you know you've done a good job. Is when clients reorder. And in this particular case, I want to have you back in. We'll have a different conversation at a later date. Joe, been a pleasure. Amazing Authorities podcast. Our guest today, Joe Rockey, rocked the house. I know that's corny, but it works.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to mitchcarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.